scores! Stutzla, one-timer, scores!
Great save made by Gustafsson. Right here, what an awesome pass through the slot, onto the stick of Batherson. Kachuk in tight up, let's get going, scores! Brady Kachuk wins it in overtime for Ottawa.
Welcome to SENS Talk. My name is Brandon and I am your host. Now, before we get started, please follow us on Twitter at SensTalk_ and on Instagram at SensTalk as well. Go to SeatGeek.com and use the promo code SensTalk. You'll save $20 off your first purchase. Now, tonight the Senators took on the Philadelphia Flyers. And, listen, going into tonight's game, Martin Jones started for the Flyers. He has an .899 career save percentage against Ottawa and a 2.73 goals against average as well in his career against the Senators. And starting in net for Ottawa is Anton Forsberg. He's been fantastic the last few games. So, interesting goalie matchup here. Forsberg, who's been solid as of late, and then for Philadelphia, Martin Jones, who frankly has not been the best against Ottawa in his career. He's also 3-2 in 6 games against the Senators. So, interesting matchup. It looks like a good matchup on paper for Ottawa here. But the first period did not go well for Ottawa early on. The Flyers were all over the Senators in the first 12 minutes of play. They took 2 goals in that first 12 minutes as well to put themselves up 2-0. Those 2 goals don't really show the true story about how well Anton Forsberg played in the first 12 minutes of play. He really held down the fort, which gave Ottawa an opportunity to come back in this game, especially in that second half of that first period. I think in the last 5 or 7 minutes, the Senators really put a lot of pressure on the Flyers. But overall, Forsberg, he allowed a couple goals there in that first period of play, but he made some big stops to keep us only down by 2. So, good job by, shout out to Anton Forsberg there for some massive stops. Now, let's head to the second period of play, because in that first period, the Flyers Twitter admin got a little cocky out there, tweeting this. You can see it on the screen here with this beauty of a tweet. They're basically getting a little too cocky with Martin Jones' first stop, pointing out the amount of time left in the period when that shot occurred for his first save. You would have figured that NHL Twitter admins by now would have figured out maybe you shouldn't put a tweet out like that. Famous tweet from a friend of the show, Craig Badaglia, from 2017, when the Senators did not allow a shot against the Bruins in the second period of play in Game 1 in 2017. They wound up losing, giving up 2 goals in the third period, and that's kind of what happened here for the Flyers. They put that terrible tweet out, and the Senators sends them moments later in the second period of play, about a minute and a half in. Tim Stutzla rips a shot top shelf past Martin Jones, a beautiful shot, a ridiculous shot, and the German stud gives Ottawa a 2-1 deficit now. Moments later, Alex Formenton pulls off a Mark Stone as he steals the puck in the neutral zone, springs himself alone on a shorthanded breakaway, and puts it 5-hole to tie things up. And suddenly, after that disastrous Philadelphia Flyers tweet, the Senators are even at 2 apiece. Now we go to the third period of play. Ottawa and Philadelphia, it's back and forth action. It's a really, really good hockey game, to be quite honest with you. And then with about 7 to 8 minutes left in the third period of play, Artem Zub from the point takes a shot, beats Martin Jones, and the Senators have the lead. It's 3-2 Senators. A beautiful shot there from Zub, the legend himself. Unfortunately, though, 50 seconds later, a weird bounce beats Anton Forsberg. He's been so good the last few games. I'm not really going to crap on him too much for that goal, but it's a terrible goal, I won't lie. It's a backbreaker goal too. We're tied at 3, and we need overtime now, which is fine. We got the point, which is great, but unfortunately, and we'll talk about Chabot in a sec, but Thomas Chabot tries to clear the puck off the boards to wrap it around, but the stanchions there in Philadelphia are a little weird. The puck goes right to a Flyers player, little pass right in front, bang. There's a missed coverage there. Stutzla could have been a little harder on the guy there, passing it to the other Flyer who won the game. I think it was Sanheim. But at the end of the day, Sanders played a good game. It's a little unfortunate we lost it in overtime, of course. Would have loved to win. But hey, you know what? It's just nice to see that the team, after a terrible start in the first period of play, got outplayed. They look like the November Sens. Like when we were talking about fire everybody, everyone was going crazy. That's what the Senators looked like in the first 12 minutes of play tonight. But ever since the first 12 minutes and a timeout from DJ Smith too, so that give a little bit of credit to DJ Smith as well. They played a really good game, and unfortunately a bad bounce kind of cost them the game, but speaking of Tom Chabot, he played more than half the game tonight for the Senators. He played 35 minutes and 39 seconds of 61-35 total in the game. He also has played the most amount of time in the National Hockey League this season. It was formerly held by Zach Werenski of the Blue Jackets with like 33 minutes. Chabot had 34 minutes time on ice, like in that regulation alone. And then, of course, like about 2 more minutes in overtime. Just an absolute insane game from Tom Chabot. And this brings me to my next point, because the Senators were neglected on Hockey Night in Canada all night. They were the prime time game, and the Hockey Night in Canada panel literally discussed anything except the Ottawa Senators. And during the 3 minutes of 45 minutes of intermission and pregame show time that they had the opportunity to speak about the Senators, and that like 3 minutes, Kevin Bieksa decided to crap all over Tom Chabot and say he's terrible, and basically just made it seem like he's the worst defenseman in the world. I think when Bieksa says in that intermission that he hasn't watched a lot of the Senators this season, it's a bad look to say that and then crap on one of the best players on the team, one of the best defensemen in the National Hockey League. Do your homework. It's Hockey Night in Canada. It's a privilege to be there, and I'm sure he does not take that for granted. But it's just a bad look in my opinion, especially when that's all you have to say about the Senators throughout the entire night. It's that the best defenseman on this team, the best defenseman we've had since Erik Karlsson, it's terrible. Like, it doesn't really get me rattled. Some people were getting a little too rattled in my opinion. He's just a panelist. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. But it's just a bad look, I think, for Hockey Night in Canada. Don't talk about the primetime game. A hockey team in Canada, too. The primetime game is a team from Canada, the Ottawa Senators. You speak about them for 3 minutes, and 2.5 of those minutes, or two and a half of those 3 minutes, it's just you crapping on Tom Chabot. It's a really bad look. But moving on now, Anton Forsberg, I mentioned it earlier, was fantastic tonight. 34 out of 38 shots he stopped. Listen, the numbers don't really do him justice. He really, really played a strong game. Multiple 10-bell stops. I also want to mention that Jacob Bernard-Docker played his first game tonight with Ottawa in this season. Listen, he played just under 20 minutes of play. That's a really, really good debut for him. DJ Smith was praising him in the post-game presser, so shout out to Jacob Bernard-Docker. Great start there for him. I also want to mention Formenton, Tyler Ennis, and Stützle were fantastic and definitely Ottawa's best forwards tonight. Of course, Stützle and Formenton getting on the board, but Tyler Ennis could have scored a couple times too. He was really active along the boards as usual. Loved his game. Now, besides that, let's get to the SENS Talk Star of the Night, voted by you, the fans. The SENS Talk Star of the Night, voted by you, the fans, with 40% of the vote. It is Tim Stützle. Fantastic goal there to open the scoring for Ottawa tonight. That's 5 goals on the year for him. He's been looking much better as of late. Great game for him. The other guys I put on the board there that were potential starters of the night, Anton Forsberg, of course, had a solid game, especially in that first period. Tom Chabot, unbelievable game, 35 minutes. A couple of costly turnovers, sure, but when you play half the game, fatigue is going to happen. And then Alex Formenton as well, second star basically here. He got 28% of the vote. And, with Formenton, great speed. He's finally starting to score. And I mentioned it in a video 15 games ago that Formenton was going to get an opportunity this year in the top 6. Here it is, and he's making the best of it. He's been great. And obviously an honorable mention to Tyler Ennis as well. As I said earlier in this video, I think Tyler Ennis was fantastic tonight as well. Now, Ottawa was supposed to play tomorrow against the Bruins, but unfortunately the Bruins are dealing with a COVID outbreak, so that game was postponed. So the next Senator game is on Tuesday against the St. Louis Blues. Kind of sucks. I was supposed to go to the game on Sunday, which would have been tomorrow, of course, with a couple of buddies coming back from university. It's unfortunate, but that's the world we live in these days. So I'll see you on Tuesday. And if that game's postponed for whatever reason, I don't think it will be. There's no reason to believe it will. St. Louis is not dealing with any issues. Ottawa, thankfully, isn't either. So that game should be a go. But let's say that game is postponed or the season's put on pause for whatever reason. I will definitely put out some World Junior coverage then to fill the space. Because the World Juniors are coming soon, and do not worry, I did not forget about them. Besides that, thank you all for watching. Make sure to like this video, share this video with Circle Stuff, and of course, click that big red button down there, make it great, and subscribe to us. Most importantly of all, turn the notification bell on so you get notified whenever we upload a new video. Besides that, thank you all for watching. Ottawa falls to the Flyers 4-3. I'll see you in the next few days. Go Sens, go.